Evening, folks. Brian here, Geomagnetic Earthwatch on Monday, August 21, 2023 on our planet. I hope you're all well. So I have a couple of questions. I'm going to answer them both on one video here. One person asked me about the history of volcanism or volcanoes in my area of the Okanagan, southern British Columbia, where we're having all our wildfires. So let's just do a little bit of a history here of the Okanagan. So the Okanagan Valley was actually formed 60 million years ago from rifting, and that is the tectonic plates separating apart, causing magma to rise and form its volcanoes and volcanic features throughout the Okanagan Valley. 50 million years ago, it's just one volcanic hotbed. It is believed that 5 million years ago we had some volcanic activity. So very old. A lot of these volcanoes do not look like your typical volcanoes because they've been weathered down by millions of years of wind, rain, glaciation, etc. So let's start off in my area. We've had the wildfires, West Kelowna. My fire started right up here is where our fire started. So there's at least a half a dozen known volcanic areas listed, starting off with Mount Bouchier. Our city hall, our arena, and high school is at the base of the volcano. Now, there's one thing that they like to do here. I'm going to be showing you many examples. They like to build volcanoes. They like to build neighborhoods on top of our volcanoes. Given what's happening with our wildfires and what is going to happen as it relates to the geomagnetic excursion and the outer core expansion coming up through the mantle plumes, real estate value is going to take a dive. So surrounding each volcano, we have other volcanic features, cones. So we have a lot of smoothed humps bulging up. These are also volcanic features that very few people realize. And once again, we like to build houses on top of them. Everywhere. So that's West Kelowna. Let's go on to the other side of the lake, to Kelowna proper. Knox Mountain Volcano. So apparently the fire, which worked its way all the way along the edge, all the way up Okanagan Lake, jumped, ignited fires in Knox Mountain, here, and way up further in Lake Country. I'll get there in a minute. So Knox Mountain is a volcano. And Dilworth Volcano. Once again, we like to build neighborhoods on top of volcanoes. Now, Give me a moment. So when the fire started up on the other side, there were other heat indications, including right here in this orchard area. And that's all I can say about that for now. There are other heat indications. Right here. In fact, one was in this settling pond, as well as others in this area. So that's quite the distance from our fires. Another volcanic region is Black Mountain on the outskirts of Kelowna. Let's go down to the bottom end of the lake to Penticton. So Penticton, we have a prominent feature, very well-known feature, Munson Mountain volcano. On the other side of the lake in Summerland, we have Grant's Head volcano. Let's see if I can find you. Here we go. Summerland, another volcano. And its surrounding volcanic features. So the Okanagan is littered with volcanoes and volcanic cones. Known. I'm sure there are a great many others. There are. So now I'm going to go back to recent seismic activity, as well as other fires. So earlier this year, 27 kilometers south of Copper Mountain outside of Princeton, we had a series of very, very shallow earthquakes. 5 earthquakes, very shallow, suggesting the movement of magma. Shortly after that, we had another series of earthquakes to the east of Copper Mountain, Princeton. Shallow earthquakes. We had an earthquake just down the road from Penticton Hospital. In this region, which was actually felt quite some distance all the way up to West Kelowna. We also had some heat indications on the north end of the Penticton Airport runway that I personally attended to and sneaked around a little bit. Right here and right here. I can tell you this was not a controlled burn or anything like that. You don't do a prescribed burn at the foot of a runway. There was no evidence of any fires here, so there was geothermal heat. And about maybe 6 weeks ago, in my back door, off what we call the 97 connector highway, 3:30 in the morning, we had a fire indication, 2. One right here at this steep face, and one right here off this pull-out. Now, someone did not, at 3 o'clock in the morning, hike 350 feet and climb a very steep face and start a fire right here and right here. Weather, low 20s, no lightning. However, there was also a series of heat indications around the perimeter of this feature. The wind was coming in this direction. The other heat indications was against the wind, exactly 1 kilometer up this way, and on the other side of the highway. Earlier this summer, going back to Knox Mountain, we had a fire on the top of the mountain. This neighborhood had to be evacuated. The fire was somewhere in this area. However, once again, the satellite picked up a series of other heat indications around the perimeter of the fire, including inside this, what was probably the old orifice opening of the volcano, and or this one. That fire was not human caused. Middle of the daytime. During our current fire situation, I reported that there were a series of heat anomalies along Okanagan Lake, working its way up the lake, up through Armstrong, Enderby, Salmon Arm, around the perimeter of Mount Ida volcano. Mount Ida is a volcano. That data was removed. So perhaps some scarring from glaciation. So once again, we had heat detections around this area to the backside, working its way down here and all along the lake. So to answer the question about volcanism in my area, the next question was, what about heat anomalies or detections in South Africa? So yes, in fact, as I've reported in the past, on the continental shelf, south coast of Africa, we've had some heat indications along with seismic activity, earthquakes in this region here and off of this area here. So I just picked a month. This is actually June. And during the month of June, in fact, there was a whole bunch. On June 5th, 9th, 10th, 15th, 16th, 21st, 22nd. This is one of my areas on my suggested watch list. South Africa. This is 1 month's worth, so let's just go back to our current. And then Johannesburg, I believe the count was 14 or 15 earthquakes over an extended period of time, average range magnitude 3. So yes, there has been some heat indications in South Africa. I'm more focused on offshore and continental shelf regions. One final thing before I go. Unfortunately, we have some lightning storms rolling in. for Idaho and Montana. So this is live lightning map. That's the flashes you're seeing. One more. I'm assuming this is the remnants of the hurricane that hit you down south of me, anyway. We are obviously going to be having a lot more wildfires over the next 24 hours. I don't know what to expect, especially Idaho moving into Montana. And you can see from all this chaotic wind direction slamming into each other. Okay, folks, that's it for now.